Well, I'm back. I got the SRM arms model 1216 shotgun back at the factory. Sent it back to get a few things repaired, and for the most part they did not fix it. So we had one of the complaints was the trigger. The trigger was gritty. Now the trigger is pretty nice, so at least it seems they fixed that. Before it had sort of a long travel and it was gritty. Now the travel is really short and it breaks nice and clean. Yeah, just a slight, you can just barely feel it, a little slide just before it breaks. It's almost like a, I don't know, it's just pretty good for a shotgun. The other thing I complained about was the muzzle. The muzzle has a burr on it. You can feel it with your fingernail right there, all the way around. It's not as big on that side. It's barely a little burr there. So if I can get in there a little closer, maybe you can see it. Sort of doubt that you'll be able to see it though. A little bit of a burr right there. On this side, there's not much. So you have an uneven muzzle, which is not good. Up. So go back up close again. Another thing I asked him about was the bore. I don't have a bore light here. Let's see how that looks. This the bore has straight rifling in it, but the bore has like rifling, straight rifling grooves in it. I wondered if it was actually completed. They didn't answer that question. They didn't answer any questions actually, but it's still got those grooves in there, and it's still got the burr on the muzzle. I asked them to fix that. They didn't do that. But the main problem is it doesn't feed. I'm going to slip this just to save. The manual says to put the magazine in, you should have the bolt closed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The bolt is closed. Here I have a 16-round magazine. I have Winchester AA's, and they're brand new. All the magazine tubes are full except for this one. They're all full. Put it in and see if it'll cycle. Normally I don't like to play around with live rounds going into, charging them into the chamber, but in this case I don't have any other alternative to test it. So slam it back, slam it in home there. Let's see if I can get it to cycle. I'm going to release it. Just a clean release. So I'm trying to see. Okay, so that round hung up in there. You can see it. I don't see any reason for it to have hung up. It's just sitting in there. Alright, so let's get that out. So two things are happening. This is a new thing actually. I've never had to do this before. The round just goes part way in. It's sort of stuck in there. I'll hold back the bolt. Alright, so that round, that tube is empty. So the main thing it does is when I pull back the bolt, nothing happens. The rounds stay in the tube. Another thing that's been happening is I'll get two shells will feed out at the same time, and then the bolt won't close because there's two shells in there. Alright, so we're on an empty tube. I'm going to rotate it. Closes. That's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one worked. Alright, well, so I got, except for that fourth round on the first tube, the whole thing fed. But so far, out of all the dozens of times I've done this, I've only got, actually I've never had all 4 tubes feed without some kind of a jam. Alright, let's do it again. See if it'll do the double stick again. I have that on film at least once, or on digital. Nothing's on film anymore. So this will be the third or fourth time these shells have been through here. They're in pretty good shape still. Through a bunch of times before when I first got it, and it chewed it up pretty bad. I've cleaned them up a little bit so they don't have much of a roughness to them, but they won't feed through this thing correctly anymore. They probably will feed my Remington. Alright, let's see what happens. Close the bolt. Oh, one of the other things I complained about was the bolt release was very hard to push. Theoretically, you should be able to do it with your finger. That way you don't have to let go of the grip. You don't have to change your grip. But it's pretty difficult. I can get it now. It's actually loosened up some. So there's some hope that after using it for a while, it will loosen up. When I've sent it back the first time, I could not press that with this finger, no matter how hard I pressed. I had to let go and push it with the thumb. Now, you can't release it just by pulling on the charging handle. That does nothing. So you can always release it that way. Alright, let's try another magazine here. Bolt is closed, safety on. Slam it home. Alright, so here we have a shell stuck in the tube. I don't know if you can be able to see it or not. It's hard to see, even when you're looking at it with your eyes instead of the camera. Do it this way. That's the front of the thing, right? This is hard. I can't see in the little screen what's going on. Alright, well, there's a shell in the magazine tube. Oh, there it goes. Now that tube is empty. The followers on the magazine tubes are black. See, when I look down in there, I cannot see. It just looks black. So if I decide to keep this thing, I'll put high visibility followers. All right, let's rotate it. That one worked. That one worked. That one stuck. Alright, here we go. And that's empty. Well, I don't know what to do but send it back again. Maybe they'll fix the muzzle this time. Pretty disappointed at this point. I expected to be out there shooting it already. Oh well. Got a full magazine here. I put in 16 Winchester AA's, are brand new. So in the manual it says to close the bolt. So the bolt is closed. You slam the magazine in there and see what happens. So I'm just going to pull it back and release. I'm not going to let my finger drag on it on the way back. Just going to pull it back and snap it, release. Okay, that one fed. Alright, so that one fed okay. I just had, before I started the camera, I had two jams. Okay, so now I have a full cylinder. Nothing's coming out of it. Full magazine tube, and it's getting nothing. Just going to rotate it a little bit. Alright, so we took that one. Okay, so that was a full tube. Get a little shards of plastic that's shredding the shells as they go in. Alright, let's see. Okay, so that one fed. So we only had one misfeed on that magazine tube. Alright, so in the manual it says not to put the magazine in when you have an open bolt. So just in combat situation you're not going to have time to change your bolt or close your bolt. I'm going to close it anyway just for them. Put this in here. Got to really slam it in and see if it'll cycle. Once again, we got 2 shells in there. So it's even worse now than it was before. Before it would just hang up in the tube and I could wiggle it, hammer on it, and it would go in. But now you get 2 shells in there just jammed up. So it's going to have to go back again. I don't know how many times they're going to give them to fix this thing. You would think that when somebody send it back to the factory, they would take some care to make sure it was fixed. But apparently somebody screwed up. Let's see what they do about it.